Today, I want to talk a little bit more about Germany selling off Bitcoin. That's the number one story right now. People want to know why Germany is selling off, why right now, why in general. I got a little bit more to share. Also, I got something very exciting to share about what's coming up this week for me and a few other things that's going on in my life. So, obviously, the big story from last week and even this weekend is why Germany is selling Bitcoin. No one could really figure that out, right? And I think a lot of people forgot how they got their Bitcoin in the first place. This was actually reported back in January of this year. So 5 months ago, Germany seized 50,000 Bitcoin. Actually, it wasn't seized. It actually was sent to the German government by someone that they arrested a long time ago. So I read up on a story. There was this guy that ran a legal movie streaming platform for years. I think it was from 2008 to 2013. And obviously, he got arrested. And he made a boatload of money with that site, which I believe he converted to Bitcoin. So when he first got arrested, I think he sent the German government like $25 million for the Bitcoin. But I guess over the years, I don't know, they've been prosecuting him or something. And finally he caved in and sent them 50,000 Bitcoin. At the time, it was worth $2.17 billion. I don't know how he had so much. I guess at the time when he was making money, he was just buying Bitcoin right at the beginning when it was just a few dollars each, or maybe under $10 or something. I have no idea how he accumulated so much, but it was reported back in January that Germany seized the largest amount from illicit activity ever in history, and it was $2.17 billion. So that was back in January. And supposedly the courts, they were trying to figure out what to do with it. So I guess their course of action now is to sell it. So keep in mind, I said $2.17 million. That was back in January. Obviously, Bitcoin has gone up since then. So they started selling last week, and they're up about like 50%. Their total holdings was, that 50,000 Bitcoin was over $3 billion. It was like 3.2, something like that. It's close to it, 3.2 or 3.3 billion. And they decided to dump 300 million, roughly, last week. So I think in Germany's eyes, whoever controls it, it's like, hey, we're up like 50%. We should be selling. So I think that's what it comes down to. And they're just selling. They're not, I'm reading that they seriously have no idea how to minimize the price impact. They seriously just divided it up, sent it to 4 exchanges and sold it. Didn't try to reach out to them. Didn't try to do it with a bot so that they could do a lot of smaller sells. No, they just decided to just send it and dump it. So it's quite amazing. So whoever's in charge there, whoever's in charge of the Bitcoin, they just really didn't know what they were doing. They didn't consult any experts or anything. How, it's in their interest to try to minimize the price impact, obviously, right? When you're trying to sell billions of dollars of the Bitcoin, you don't want to just dump it on Coinbase. That makes no sense. So yeah, but the last thing is, so Arkham's intelligence is tracking their software, or tracking their wallet, I should say, and the last few transactions actually show Bitcoin going inwards. So again, I don't know, because of how much press this received, maybe the powers that be are now thinking, okay, we kind of screwed up. We could do this a better way. So maybe some of the Bitcoin that they were planning on selling, they moved back to their main wallet. I don't know. But yeah, the last few transactions has showed some smaller inflows back into that wallet that they were dumping from. So again, we won't know until this week whether they go continue to dump or they realize it's a mistake or whatever. But that's kind of the backstory. So two things I take from the story. Number one, it shows that holding works because because whatever they confiscated went up like 50% since January, right? And number two, whoever's in charge over there has no idea what they're doing. But yeah, that's kind of like the gist of it. Do they really have any greater agenda to suppress price, or for some other reason because they need the money or something? It doesn't seem like it. It just seems like this, they just decided, okay, this is time to sell for whatever reason, right? But besides Germany selling, ETFs had a large outflow too. I mentioned that in my yesterday's video, which I did a little differently. I showed my Lego room. Some people liked it, some people didn't. Whatever. I want to do something new. Maybe next week I'll do a tour of my garage or something. Maybe then more people will care. But yeah, well, you know, I mentioned this. Fidelity had a massive outflow. No idea why. Grayscale continues to have massive outflows. Only BlackRock is staying strong. And I think I know why, because Larry Fink just wants to dominate. He doesn't want to sell any of the Bitcoin in his fund. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. But a lot of fear from last week. So going to this week, what do I expect? I really don't know. I think a more sideways movement. I do think if you look at the charts, short term, if you look at short-term indicators, it does show that Bitcoin is oversold. So I do think that there's a good chance that, hey, this week we see a little bit of recovery back up to some of our previous levels, 65, 67,000, maybe even touch upon 70,000 if we get a good push. Do I expect Bitcoin to break below where we are right now? That's that 63.7, 63.8 mark. If we do, I think it's temporary. I think we stay above it. You know, what really caused last week to dump was really Germany. Germany dumped like $300 million of the Bitcoin on a spot market. Had they done so OTC, no one would even notice. There would be no price impact at all. But when you're dumping that much on a spot market, it does have an effect. And because of that, I do think a lot of Wall Street people also got a little fearful and started dumping too. So it's a cascading effect, right? So we'll see. If they continue to dump this week, hopefully it's not on the open market, not on the spot market. Hopefully they figured out, hey, there's an OTC market we can sell to. And if that's the case, and we don't have a lot of sell pressure this week, then obviously we're going to see that good recovery. If not, we may go sideways. But I do think from a technical standpoint, if you look at the short-term technical indicators, we are poised to go up. Long-term, of course, we are poised to go up. It's just a matter of really having patience and holding. You guys have heard this before. I mean, even with my Germany example, they held since January, maybe not on purpose, but just by holding from January to now, they've made 50%. Think about it. What other asset can you buy? You simply hold for 5 months and you're up 50%. Like nothing. I don't even think Nvidia's up that much. Maybe they are, but yeah, like really nothing. So again, it just shows you how strong Bitcoin is, okay? And it is the asset you just want to hold long term. And you want to load up as much as you can while you still can, because even at where we are now, 63 or 70, it's still much, much lower than where we will be a year from now. End of even mid 2025, end of 2025, we will be well above 6 figures. And you will have no one to blame but yourself for not DCAing while prices are still low. If you want to comment on anything I've said in this video, make sure you head over to the Roundtable. The Roundtable is a new social media platform created for conversations. And best of all, it's spam-free, bot-free, unlike here on YouTube. And you could have conversations with me and others like Altcoin Daily, Scott Melker, Mauro Nafal, and many others are joining daily. And you also get rewarded in tokens for doing so. So check out the new Roundtable. Click the link in the description below.